Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna. And this morning is all about raising this question about the Sabbath and what we've been talking about with respect to the Sabbath. How many of you feel like you are overworked and overwhelmed? How many of you feel like um, I just can't get enough rest? How many of you feel like I'm running as hard as I can, but it don't ever seem like I'm catching up? Well, that's what this morning's man is all about. It's all about the Sabbath. Still talking about the Sabbath, still going through this Sabbath, and we are really going to get into this word this whole weekend. I can't wait to share the word with you. It's a trailer today, but today you can't pour on empty. You can't pour when you're all empty. And sleep is a ministry. Well, I'm going to say more about that here in a moment, but let me just greet some folk and then get into the word on this morning. Excuse me. Got a full day today. Got a full day today. I don't know about you. Speaking of all of the things that you got to do, one of the things, though, is got to make sure that I take a Sabbath. Got to make sure that I take a Sabbath. So let me greet some folk and then get into the manna on this morning. Good morning, Michael. How you doing, man? How's the grands? How are the grandchildren and all of that, and your daughter and all of those things, man? It was good seeing you the other week. Good seeing you. Hang in there. Hang in there. Let me greet some more folk. Good morning, Winifred. How are you? Nita, how are you? Laura, how are you? Pastor Richard, shout out all the way from Monrovia, Liberia. How about that? Monrovia, Liberia. Our pastor there. Good morning, Joel. How are you on this morning? Linda, Brenda's daughter. How are you all on this morning? Let me get some more folk in here on this morning. Gerald is here. Thelma is here. Deborah is here. Where in the world is Deborah and Elton? Who only knows? Who only knows? And especially when you can chime in and watch and supposed to being present, you guys might be on the other side of the moon. Who knows? Good morning, Brenda. How are you on this morning? Wendy, how are you on this morning? Diane, how are you? Ella is in the house. Liz is here as well. Michael is here. Corey is here. Valerie is here as well. Let me get some folk in here on this morning. LaFon, how you doing on this morning? Right. Arlene is in the house. Arlene, my military buddy, how you doing on this morning? Michael is here as well. You know what? This morning it's all about this whole thing about Sabbath. And this Sunday, just so I want to remind you, this Sunday is when we will take a Sabbath. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm off from church. Mm-mm. It means that I'm going to tap into, in a very serious and intentional way, to the rhythms of God. I ain't about talking about trying to go Sabbath day events. Ain't got nothing to do with none of that, okay? None of that. But there's a rhythm of God that I think that the people of God, when we tap into that rhythm, we will be far more productive, far more faith driven than grind driven. Because the grinding lied, the hustle told a lie. And I'm just telling you the God honest truth. And before I get into it, I'm that guy. I'm telling you, I'm that guy. I'll tell you this, and then we're going to get started. When I was working on my PhD, I will tell you I would go to bed about 12, get up at 3. And I did that for 3 years. Yep, grinding, grinding. And at that time, Pastor Mo, Pastor Travis, and Pastor Jeff, and they weren't really pitching in like now. It was me, 4 Sundays, 5 Sundays a month, teaching every Wednesday, and all of the things. Yep, for 3 years, 3 years, grinding, grinding. But I'm learning better now. I'm learning better. So let's just get into the word on this morning. Got a word for you. You already know it. So, and I'm going to break this down. The hustle lied. It did. It really did. So let's hear about that. Good morning and welcome to Morning Manna, where in 5 minutes or less, you're going to get an impartation with the text, the talk, and the takeaway. Join the Morning Manna fam every weekday morning at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Don't forget to put in the chat the revelation that you get and share the manna. Now, let's get ready to have some manna so you can make it through your day. Here's the text. Psalms 127:2, the NIV translation. Follow along in the version of your choice. In vain, watch this, listen to this, talking to myself. In vain you rise early and stay up late. How about that? Toiling for food to eat. Will he grant sleep to those he loves? That's a hallelujah right there. Psalms 127:2. Let's get the context of the text, and then we're going to break it all down, get into it more. You know, many believers, to include myself, are spiritually committed but emotionally depleted. We love God, serve faithfully, help people out, show up for ministry, provide for our families, and we keep pushing forward. Listen, but deep down inside, we're tired. Sabbath confronts the dangerous belief that we must constantly perform to prove our worth. The guilt rises when you didn't do this, that, or the other. I have a little notepad on the side of my bed on the nightstand that when I get in bed, everything comes to me that I didn't do, that I need to do, that I'll have to do tomorrow. So I write it down. Maybe I should move that notepad. Listen, God never intended for his people to live in perpetual exhaustion and proving oneself. One of the teachings emphasized that Sabbath is about trusting God enough to stop striving to receive his rest. Listen, let's go deeper. Psalms 127 reminds us that there is a kind of labor that becomes vain because it is disconnected from dependence on God. The issue is not working hard or hardly working. The issue is working without rest, without rhythm, renewal, and trust in God's provisions. I'm going to get what I'm going to get by my own hands. So there's three things I want you to do. One, recognize. Recognize. Look at your neighbor and say, recognize. Recognize when exhaustion is becoming your identity. Some people are so used to stress that peace feels unfamiliar. We wear burnout like a badge of honor and brag about how busy we are. But constantly being overwhelmed is not a spiritual gift. God never called us to sacrifice our mental, emotional, spiritual health on the altar of nonstop grinding. Recognize now, release. Release the pressure to carry everything yourself. Here I go again. Sabbath teaches us that we're not God. The world does not collapse when we rest. It didn't fall apart while you went to sleep. And just because you missed the evening news, things did not go upside down. Ministry continues. Grace still flows. God still provides. Sometimes our inability to rest reveals how much control we think we have. Real Sabbath says, Lord, I trust you enough to go to bed. Three. Recognize, release. Here's the third. Receive. Receive the rest God designed for your soul. 7 to 8 hours. Rest is not laziness when it is rooted in God's wisdom. Jesus invited weary people to come to him, not to put more pressure on them, but to rest. Take my yoke upon you and come of me. Learn of me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Yoke up with me. Sabbath creates room for worship, room for healing, room for reflection, room for joy, room for family, and room for restoration. God does some of his deepest work in us when we finally slow down and say, I've had enough for today. Maybe the week, maybe the month. What's your takeaway this morning? Here's your takeaway. You can be anointed. You can. But the grind is still telling you a lie. You can be anointed, but know that the grind is telling you a lie. Got more for you on this Sunday. Got more for you. You already know it. The Lord be with you today. His face shine upon you, give you peace. Share this matter. If it bless you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. And remember, this Sunday is virtual only. It's Sabbath Sunday. It's the fifth Sunday. It's virtual only. It ain't a day off. It ain't a day to go to somebody else's church. It ain't a day to sleep in. It's a day to have a Sabbath in your home with your family or with yourself. God bless you. See you Sunday. Bye now.